Hello and welcome to the GreenBiz Studio. I'm John Smieja, Vice President of Circularity here at GreenBiz, and I'm excited to welcome Ian McClure to the GreenBiz Studio. Ian is the Associate Vice President for Research, Innovation, and Economic Impact at the University of Kentucky and also the Project Director for the NSF-funded Game Change Project. Ian, great to see you and welcome to the GreenBiz Studio.
John, thanks for having me. So good to be here. Looking forward to this.
Awesome. Let's start very high level. What is the National Science Foundation Regional Innovation Engines Program, and why does it create such a compelling federal investment opportunity to advance circular economy innovation?
Sure. Well, so it starts with the CHIPS and Science Act of 2022. Some people may not have followed this, but back in 2022, the United States authorized really one of the largest innovation investments for decades, right? This was an innovation infrastructure bill about national security and authorized in 2022, in addition to a lot of funds going to CHIPS, domestic manufacturing, and CHIPS science and research. Also, a large part of this CHIPS and Science Act was to build new innovation ecosystems in the United States for global competitiveness. And one of the programs that has now been launched under this authorization is the National Science Foundation's Regional Innovation Engines Program. It is the single largest award ever offered by the National Science Foundation. So it's a really big deal. It is the tenet of this program is to create new innovation hubs to advance what we call key technology focus areas of the country. And again, for national security. So we're thinking domestic onshoring of manufacturing, environmental sustainability, things like that, that are about our future. And the goal is to create new innovation hubs. And so this program was launched by the National Science Foundation just about a year and a half ago. And we were fortunate enough, the Game Change Initiative was fortunate enough to be selected by the National Science Foundation to develop one of these innovation ecosystems. So we're excited and excited to be here to talk more about that.
Awesome. Yeah, the CHIPS and Science Act, the one that's often forgotten along with the IRA and those kinds of things. So
right.
You mentioned, you're leading this Game Change initiative. Tell us a little bit about who's part of that coalition and what you're working on there.
Yeah, sure. So Game Change stands for Generating Advanced Manufacturing Excellence for Change. And we are more specifically focused on sustainable manufacturing and even more specifically around that, circular manufacturing. So that is our key tech focus area. That's our technical pillar. And the coalition that we have built around this is quite large. We are focused on a region of service of Kentucky and Tennessee. So truly, we have a coalition that has been built of industry, both small and large, from suppliers, materials companies to OEMs, governments, state and local governments. We have 9 universities through Kentucky and Tennessee that are focused on this, economic development organizations, investment firms, you name it. We have a large coalition that have all gotten together to advance circular economy. It's pretty exciting. So when we formed this coalition, we went to the National Science Foundation and we said, look, we have an amazing idea to make Kentucky and Tennessee the place for you to make a bet to advance circular economy technologies, but specifically around industrial manufacturing, right? So creating circular manufacturing competitiveness for the United States globally so that we can do this and be a place that is truly advancing sustainable manufacturing and next generation manufacturing. So we started building this coalition by voicing the opportunity to make Kentucky and Tennessee this hub, but to do it through R&D, right? This is it's an NSF program. So it's focused on innovation, research, science, advancing technology. But importantly, it's not meant to focus on basic research per se. The National Science Foundation funds basic research at research institutions all across the country. It's what they're known for. But this program in particular is about advancing technologies to market for adoption. They call it use-inspired research. And so our entire tenet is to validate unmet needs in manufacturers across our region, focused specifically on materials reuse, recovery, recycling, upcycling, and circular design including energy efficiencies. And then we are now building technology roadmaps that we are going to ask the National Science Foundation to give us $160 million to implement this innovation hub that'll take us from where we are current state today to a future vision along this technology roadmap for circular economy manufacturing, so that we can be the place that is advancing circular manufacturing for the U.S.
That's amazing. And if you are able to win this grant and get this money, what are some of the steps along that path? What along that strategy to develop this circular economy manufacturing hub?
Yeah. So this is the exciting part, right? So what we have received so far from the National Science Foundation is $1 million to develop this coalition, to develop our strategy, and then to come back to them to ask for the full $160 million to execute that strategy. So we are now thick in the strategy building process. We have a coalition. That coalition is growing. It's increasing almost every day with momentum and interest. And our strategy focuses specifically on what we're calling technology scale centers, right? So one of the largest unmet needs in developing, demonstrating, and scaling manufacturing technologies is the inability to actually do the scaling part, right? We can test, we can discover lots of fantastic potential technologies at lab scale, right? We have universities with high capabilities, incredible machinery, research scientists that are renowned in the world. But we have the inability to scale and demonstrate those technologies for adoption on manufacturing lines, right? Without additional space, facilities, and equipment specifically for doing that. And in Kentucky and Tennessee, this is one of the barriers, so to speak, between early discoveries in materials reuse, recovery, materials extraction, circular design, digital integration technologies, and automation. The ability to test new discoveries at scale and then implement them for adoption into the manufacturers that need them across the region. So we're going to be building technology scale centers. These will be 100,000 square foot plus physical facilities. Think of high bays. So, circumstance manufacturing centers where which we can use as test beds, where we can test these technologies and then incubate them, right, for adoption into manufacturing lines, into manufacturing processes. And so we're excited about that aspect. So these would be located in both Kentucky and Tennessee. That would be accessible to all industrial partners that are working with us, both small and large. And then a real key aspect of this is what we're calling a game change accelerator and venture studio, which is going to be the place where we are going to be incubating startups, supporting them with services, with support, team building, the ability to test their own technologies, but also importantly to test them alongside larger industrial manufacturers for adoption, and then to allow venture funds. We're building a game change validation funds and a game change accelerator funds that would provide investment dollars into those startups so that then they can develop those technologies and then be vendors, right, to a closed loop manufacturing ecosystem here in the region. We want to prove this out here in the region and then use that as a blueprint to do it all over the United States, which we're excited about that possibility. So technology roadmaps, technology scale centers, and then a game change venture studio and accelerator to incubate and accelerate new startups for specifically for circular manufacturing. And this would be a one of its kind. We don't have anything like this in the United States. We do need to catch up with the rest of the world. There are parts of the world that are far advanced from where we are in doing this. And we believe this is our ticket. And the National Science Foundation should make this bet so that we can do this for global competitiveness.
Excellent. And one last question, speaking of the coalition, is there an opportunity for other interested partners to get involved? And if so, how do they do that?
Yeah, great question. And the answer to that is absolutely. I mentioned the coalition that we have with over 60 partners today, growing all the time. We do have events. And so we have game change summits. We have held in the past year 2 of these summits. The last one was in Knoxville in March. We had over 150 attendees. And we will continue to have those events. The next one is in Louisville this fall. And so we also have a newsletter to stay updated on our progress and where we are. And then we have a very active set of working groups. These working groups are focused on everything from those technology roadmaps to workforce and development strategies to even just building our ecosystem further through a membership approach. And so we have a website, gamechange.org. Please check it out. We have information there where people can find out how to get engaged with us, to join our working groups, to attend one of our upcoming events, and then ultimately to just support where we are and where we are headed with the National Science Foundation. And we hope that the National Science Foundation will select us for the $160 million, which would mean they too are behind building a circular economy here in the United States.
Ian, thank you for your time today. Everyone, you just heard from Ian McClure, the Associate Vice President for Research, Innovation, and Economic Impact at the University of Kentucky and the Project Director for the NSF-funded Game Change Project. Have a great day, and thanks for joining us in the GreenBiz Studio.
Thanks, John.